when there's crisis going on and numbers and everybody could see the data and where it's pointing, like you gotta be ready to lead through that. Although that you might be in fear, you might be scared, you might not know what to do, like you need to instill confidence in the team of, hey man, I don't know exactly what this is gonna look like, but we have always found our way through this and we are always going to find our way through. And that's one thing that we all need to get straight real quick. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the Do Good Movement. Our purpose here is to make a positive impact in our society through real life education. The movement comes into play when you share the content to help other people do good just like you. Excited to be back here with you guys today. We got a business podcast. I know a lot of you guys love that. And I'm gonna talk about something that most people don't talk about. A lot of people talk about all the good things in business and some tactics, but I'm gonna talk about something that not many people have accomplished. I've been through this. I think a lot of people have been through this after the COVID rush. But what I'm going to talk about with you guys today is a downturn in business, how to control a downturn inside your company, how to lead through that, and how to get back onto your upward swing. First thing, you guys are a leader. If you run a company, you are a leader. If you own a company, you are a leader. If you're a manager of a company, you are a leader. If you have any type of role of helping guide people, you are a leader. So you need to remember what a leader is and what a leader does. Everybody, when there's crisis going on and numbers and everybody could see the data and where it's pointing, like you gotta be ready to lead through that. Although that you might be in fear, you might be scared, you might not know what to do, like you need to instill confidence in the team of, hey man, I don't know exactly what this is going to look like, but we have always found our way through this and we are always going to find our way through. And that's one thing that we all need to get straight real quick. Now let's get into detail. So that's really how I would enter into that and how I have entered into that because I have been in a downturn. But you really need to understand like what your new company is going to look like and have a very clear vision of how you're going to get there. And how do other people fit inside of that? Because if you don't have a vision and you're making all these tweaks and changes, then everybody's going to be under the assumption that like things aren't good and they're not going to go good and they're going to have to be making, other plans for them in their life. But if you're open and transparent of here's what's going on, here's why it's going on, here's my plan, this is what we're going to go do, and this is what the future is going to look like, and this is where I need your help, people could get behind that. So you want to get in front of any assumptions and any thoughts as fast as you possibly can, but don't jump too fast because you need to have like an actual real plan that your whole team could get behind and row you that way. So once you get past leading through this, once you get past going through the vision, then it's really controlling numbers. And you have to be very, very in tune with your profit and loss, your balance sheet, and your cash flow. And you need to balance all of that out to get through your downturn. So on a downturn, you're saying you're in a downturn most likely because you're losing revenue. So you're losing revenue or you're losing, gross profit, which is going to pinch out your net profit after your expense line. So when you're going through this, the first thing you need to do is understand where do you think your lowest point in revenue is going to be. The biggest mistake people do is let's see how next month is. Let's see how next month is. Let's see how next month is. And they run with the same expense line until it's too late. There's no cash left. There's nothing you could do. Your back's against the wall and there's no getting off of it. You need to be very realistic and not say, let's see what next month's going to do. If your gut's telling you, hey, we're in a downturn, we lost, 20% year over year this month or whatever, you need to come up with some gut and some assumptions on what you think the rest of the year is going to be. However, if you think there's an anomaly going on and there's something up your sleeve that you could put in place to change that for next month and you're 1,000% confident, it's not saying, hey man, sales is going to go work harder, we're going to go figure it out. That's not a plan. You need actual factual detail that you could rely on that you can guarantee you're not going to take another punch. The last thing you want to do as a leader in the company, be like, hey, it was just an off month. Trust me, like we're going to push a little bit harder. Next month's going to be fine. If you miss, you then just lose a confidence, not only from your higher up, but you lose confidence in your team that you know how to make the right decisions, and people probably won't be listening to you anymore. So if you're going to go put your name behind something and say, hey, it's just a 1 month deal, you better damn well have your facts straight, your data, and a well built out plan so other people could read it and say, yep, I believe that person. They have a really good plan. I went through it. Data points are right. Like, makes sense. Like, let's run it out. If you cannot come up with a suffice plan like that, do not hurt yourself. Do not hurt your company. If you know, hey, we're going to be a 20% dip, you need to go right size your entire profit and loss to adjust for that revenue dip or the gross profit dip. Unless your company's totally happy, running at a less net margin or a negative net margin until some things get better, which I can tell you, no company's down to do that unless they know, hey, this is a 3-month deal or a 6-month deal. Let me give you an example of what that would look like. Everybody's familiar with the tariffs that went on. Hey, there's all this stuff going on. It might be high, it might go low. There's uncertainty of what the market was going to do. During that time, yeah, that's really worth the gamble. Just continue to run it out, see what's going to happen. When the final say is done, if you have to make adjustments, make adjustments. But just because there's this tariff scare, you don't go run with it, right? That's something a board, investors, leadership, whoever you're reporting to could get behind because, like, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's out of our control. The data's not set yet. And it is what it is for a few months. We need to get our butt kicked, but let's wait till the final verdict and then make our decision. That's different. So if you're in that downturn and your revenue's down or your gross profit's down, you need to get in your expenses and adjust your expenses to match what your new business model is going to look like. And in other podcasts, you heard me talk about long-term liability. This is exactly why you want to protect yourself without long-term liability. Because if you do hit that downturn, I want you to be able to go through your expense line. Let's say you're wanting your company to make 10% to the bottom line, to your net profit. And let's say your revenue drops X percent. You need to drop your expenses so you're still running at that 10% number. You need to be dynamic enough as a business leader to keep your net profit healthy as you're going up or as you're going down. Because if you don't, and you're not watching that, and you're not bankrolling, what's going to happen is you're not going to have money for product, you're not going to have money for whatever it might be, payroll, anything, and you're going to run into a cash flow situation. Profitability of a company is so important. And I'm trying to protect you guys from getting yourself into a pinch of like, oh shit, like let me try to work through this and fix this thing. And you're going to hit a time where you're out of money and you can't go fix it. But if you run your downturn smart and you call the shots immediately so you're not taking a profit hit, you're still cash flowing through the whole time. And then while you figure stuff out, you're running smaller, you're more nimble. You might be wearing multiple hats. There might be a little bit of pressure on the team, but your business is still cash flowing. That is most important because then you get the second chance to ride that next wave up. So while you're in a downturn, protect your net profit by adjusting your expenses, doing something with your GP. And then when you're wanting to get that reset, you get that reset, you probably need to make some tweaks inside your business model, to run more efficient, to be able to handle the growth again without the expense or whatever it might be. There's probably more stuff I'll talk about on another podcast here. But, with this economy has been kind of, as I think everybody can admit, pretty freaking crazy for like the last been 5 years since COVID? Like you just don't know what you're going to go get. And so as business leaders, I think we've been dealing with some of the most challenging times, how to ride the wave up fast and the wave goes down fast and how to run it back down. And what you don't want to do is make a bunch of profit on the wave up, and on the way down, you're paying it all back and you got nothing left. So hope this helps you guys. Do good.